Hey folks, welcome back to Powerful Stoic Habits. Have you ever found yourself doing more than you should just to get someone's attention, as if you're constantly pushing yourself, hoping they'll finally notice? Like you're stuck in a cycle where the more effort you put in, the less it seems to work. What if I told you that true attraction doesn't come from effort, but from stepping back and letting them come to you naturally? Think about it this way. Do you find yourself attracted to someone who's constantly at your feet, doing everything they can just to stay in your line of sight? Of course not. And yet, when you play the role of their puppet, constantly seeking their approval, you're setting yourself up to be treated like trash. And here's the slap, my friends. They will use you like trash, and it's all because you're letting them. You're showing them that you're willing to sacrifice your dignity for a little bit of attention. The problem isn't them. It's the way you're trying to attract them. The real magic begins when you stop trying so hard, when you stop chasing and start valuing yourself. That's when everything shifts. You think by trying harder, you'll win them over, but in reality, you're pushing them further away. The harder you try, the more they pull back. So today, we're going to dive deep into why people are so attracted to those who don't try hard. We'll break down how to stop giving away your power and why pulling back makes them crave your presence. And yes, this is the video that's going to transform you into someone who doesn't chase, but naturally draws others in with their quiet confidence. This video is going to change everything. So here's your challenge. You are done begging for attention. You are done fighting for scraps of validation. Starting now, you step into your power. You are no longer the one chasing. You are the one being chased. And I want you to commit to this right now, not just in your mind, but publicly. Drop this comment below. I refuse to chase. Say it like you mean it. Declare it loud. Because when you speak it into existence, you're telling the universe and yourself that you're done playing small. So go ahead, throw it in the comments, and start your transformation today. Show the world you refuse to settle, that you're stepping into the power that's been waiting inside you all along. Drop "I refuse to chase" below, and let this be the moment you reclaim your worth. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So, dye your soul with strength, confidence, and self-worth, and watch how everything starts to change the moment you stop chasing. Ready to attract, my friends? Let go. Now, folks, we know that people are attracted to those who don't try hard. But the real question is why? Why does the same person who once ignored you suddenly start seeing your true worth when you stop trying? It's simple. The moment you stop chasing, you stop appearing desperate. As the saying goes, what you chase runs away. Relationships thrive on mutual interest, not one-sided effort. When you stop trying hard, you create space for the other person to lean in. They start noticing your absence, and that's when curiosity turns into attraction. I came across a story online where a guy talked about how his ex never responded to his constant texts and calls. But when he finally let go, stopped reaching out, and focused on himself, she began texting him out of the blue, asking why he was so distant. It wasn't magic, it was the shift in energy. When you stop overextending, you send a message. I know my worth. And people naturally gravitate toward those who value themselves. Let's say you've mastered the art of not trying hard. What next? Is that enough? No, absolutely not. We're not here to sell you dreams. The real work begins when you turn that focus inward, when you start building the kind of life that naturally attracts others. And that, my friends, is exactly what we're diving into next. You can't simply stop trying hard and expect everything to change. You have to build yourself into someone worthy of that attention, someone who stands strong, whether they're in a relationship or standing alone. That's where Stoicism comes in. Epictetus reminds us, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It's won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Stop trying hard to control others and start mastering yourself. And folks, if you're thinking, oh, here we go, another video telling me to hit the gym and work on my looks, stop right now. That's not what we're talking about here. Instead, I'm going to share 5 simple steps that you can take, no matter how busy you are. These aren't about surface-level changes. These are real shifts you can make, starting today. Believe me, when you make it through to the end of this video, you're going to appreciate just how powerful these steps are. They're about building yourself into someone who naturally draws others in without lifting a finger. So stay tight, because the real transformation is just beginning. And if this video is helping you out, please help it reach more people by simply hitting the like button under this video. It makes a massive difference. Now, let's stop trying hard to attract them and instead shift that energy into building ourselves into someone who doesn't need to chase. So now, let's dive into the first one. Number 1, love your independence. So folks, now that you've stopped trying hard, where do you stand? Independent. And let me tell you something. There's nothing more powerful than loving your independence. Loving your independence isn't just about being alone or self-sufficient. It's about embracing the freedom that comes with not needing someone else to validate your worth. When you stop chasing them, when you stop being their puppet, when you stop allowing them to treat you like trash, you reclaim your power. Do you think they won't notice? Oh, they will notice, folks. They'll notice when the calls they used to ignore aren't coming through anymore. They'll notice when you're not bending over backward for them, trying to prove your worth. And let me tell you something, when they notice, that's when things start to shift. Suddenly, the person who treated you like an option begins to realize they've lost something valuable. Why? Because independence is attractive. When they see you living your life without needing them, without begging for their attention, it forces them to reassess. You've become a person who doesn't chase. You're living your life, standing strong, and focusing on what matters. You. Don't you think that's attractive? Of course it is. Let's consider 2 people. One who's independent, confident, moving forward with their life, and another who's constantly chasing, desperate for validation, unable to stand on their own 2 feet. Which one would you choose? It's a no-brainer, right? People are naturally drawn to independence because it signals strength, self-respect, and confidence. When you love your independence, you're no longer relying on someone else to define your happiness. You become the driver of your own life, no longer a passenger waiting for someone else to steer. You're the captain of your own ship, navigating your way forward, regardless of who's watching or following. This shift doesn't just make you more attractive to others, it gives you the strength to stand firm in your decisions and not be swayed by fleeting emotions. Think about this for a second. When you stop chasing someone, you stop feeding their ego. Suddenly, they don't have the validation they once got from your desperate attempts to get their attention. They start noticing the void where you used to be. And guess what? That's when they realize your worth. It's when you're no longer available at their convenience, no longer waiting for their crumbs of attention, that they start to see you for what you truly are, a person of value. An example I came across on a forum really drives this home. A guy was chasing his ex for months after they broke up. He sent her messages, tried to meet her, even agreed to just be friends, hoping it would make her come back. But nothing worked. One day, he decided to cut it off completely. No more calls, no more texts, no more chasing. He focused on himself, his career, his hobbies. After months of silence, she reached out asking how he was. Why? Because the second he stopped chasing, she noticed the gap he left in her life. His independence made her see what she'd taken for granted. Independence is magnetic. It's the signal that you don't need them to survive, and nothing attracts more than that. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. What if fear creeps in? What if that voice in your head whispers, maybe I should reach out? Maybe I'm losing them forever. Listen, folks, this is the moment you hit yourself with the affirmation you dropped earlier in the comments. I refuse to chase. Let that affirmation become your armor when fear tries to creep in. Remember this, the fear is a trap. It's trying to pull you back into the cycle of chasing, begging, and seeking validation from someone who hasn't earned your attention. Think of independence like a fire, bright, strong, and burning without any external fuel. But fear is the wind that tries to put out that fire. You need to protect it, feed it with self-love, self-respect, and the belief that you're enough, just as you are. Hit yourself with this reminder, I refuse to chase. Every time that urge to reach out, to go back to old habits, creeps up, you repeat it to yourself. This affirmation will remind you that you're not that same person anymore. You're no longer playing the game where you're constantly left on the sidelines. You're playing a new game, and the rules are on your terms. Your independence is your power. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Independence is about taking control of your own mind, your own actions, and refusing to let someone else dictate your value. When you love your independence, you love the fact that you are whole, complete, and capable without needing anyone else's approval. When you truly love your independence, you shift the entire dynamic. You stop chasing, and in turn, they start to notice you more. Independence is attractive because it signals that you're not looking for someone to complete you. You're already complete. You're simply choosing whether or not to let someone into your life. Think of it like a magnet. The harder you try to pull someone toward you, the more they resist. But when you let go, when you focus on yourself and let things unfold naturally, people start coming to you. It's the paradox of attraction. When you stop needing it, that's when it shows up. Now, listen closely. You are not their puppet. You are not here to be tossed around, used or discarded when it's convenient for them. You are not someone's backup plan, someone's option, or someone's second choice. You are the prize. And the sooner you love your independence, the sooner you'll realize that you never needed them in the first place. Imagine this. You're standing tall, living your life, moving forward, and they see you. But now, you're untouchable. You're not waiting on their attention. You're living with purpose. And when they come back, and trust me, they will, don't forget why you stopped chasing them in the first place. Stop acting like you're at the mercy of someone else's decisions. Take charge, own your independence, and watch how people are drawn to you, not because you need them, but because you don't. Affirm it now. I refuse to chase. Let that be your mantra. Every time doubt, fear, or loneliness creeps in, remind yourself of this truth. You're not here to be someone's afterthought. You're here to live fully, and when you love your independence, you become unstoppable. And, folks, if you have any questions about this step so far, drop them in the comments. Kill that thought of drifting away. Stick with me till the end, because you've got to take the next 4 steps too. Remember, just watching till this point is mere motivation and will bear no fruit without action. So, to let me know you're still following along, drop a "keep it up" in the comments right now. Let's keep pushing forward together. Number 2. Don't fall for traps. So now that you've embraced your independence, you've reclaimed your power. But here's where many people fall: the traps. And I'm not talking about the obvious things like what they do or don't do. The traps I'm talking about are deeper, more subtle. They're inside you. These are the internal traps that, if you're not careful, will pull you right back into the old patterns you've worked so hard to break. One of the biggest traps? The trap of self-doubt. You've been doing great, standing strong in your independence, but suddenly you start questioning yourself. You wonder if you made the right decision by pulling back, by stopping the chase. Maybe you even start to feel guilty, as if you're the one to blame for things not working out. This is one of the sneakiest traps out there. It plays on your insecurities, making you second-guess your own strength. And when that self-doubt creeps in, it's like a crack in your armor. If you're not careful, it'll open wider and wider until you're back to square one. Here's what you need to do. Recognize it for what it is. When that voice in your head starts telling you you're wrong, that maybe you should go back to your old ways, stop and remind yourself why you made these changes in the first place. You didn't step into your independence just to let self-doubt drag you back down. You're in the process of becoming something far greater. Your life is unfolding in ways you can't even imagine yet, and you're about to see how powerful you really are. When that trap starts closing in on you, hit yourself with the same affirmation we've been talking about. I refuse to chase. This isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a lifeline, a shield against those old destructive patterns. Say it out loud if you need to. I refuse to chase. Every time self-doubt tries to trip you up, you hit back harder. Because the truth is, self-doubt is just fear wearing a mask, and your life will be better than the one you're worrying about. Another trap? The trap of overthinking. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That endless loop in your mind where you play out every single possibility. You start imagining scenarios that haven't even happened. You think, why isn't my life like theirs? Or why haven't I achieved what they have? But let me tell you, your life is on a path to be better than theirs. The process you're in right now, the growth you're going through, is setting you up for something much bigger. Stop overthinking and trust the process. Overthinking paralyzes you, keeps you stuck in the past, in the what-ifs, when in reality, your future is full of incredible things waiting for you to step into. Here's the truth. You cannot control other people's lives, their feelings, or their choices. What you can control is yourself and how you invest in your future. Every second you spend overthinking is a second you could be using to build yourself up. So the next time you find yourself spiraling down the rabbit hole of overthinking, stop, take a breath, and ground yourself in the present moment. Remind yourself, you are in the process of becoming your best self. The life you're working toward is going to surpass everything you've been comparing yourself to. There's no need to dive into imaginary scenarios because those aren't your reality. Your reality is right here, and it's getting better with every step you take. Keep moving forward because you're on your way to a life they'll envy. Now let's talk about another sneaky trap. The trap of loneliness. It creeps in when you least expect it. Maybe it's a quiet moment when you're by yourself, or maybe it's when you see others in relationships or surrounded by friends. That feeling of loneliness hits, and suddenly it feels unbearable. You start thinking that being with someone, anyone, might be better than being alone. This is dangerous territory because loneliness will convince you to settle for less than you deserve. It'll make you think that your worth is tied to being with someone else. But that's the trap. Here's what you need to remember. Loneliness is temporary. It's a feeling, not a fact. Being alone doesn't mean you're less valuable, less worthy, or less lovable. It just means that right now, you're in a season where your energy needs to be focused inward. You are in the process of building a life that's richer than what loneliness is trying to offer. Instead of running from loneliness, embrace it. Use it as a time to get to know yourself better, to love yourself deeper. The more comfortable you become with your own company, the less power loneliness has over you. And here's the kicker. When you learn to love being alone, people become drawn to you. Why? Because nothing is more attractive than someone who doesn't need others to feel whole. Now, let's get into the most subtle trap of all, the trap of comparison. This one is deadly because it's easy to fall into without even realizing it. You start looking at other people's lives, their relationships, their careers, and you start thinking, why isn't my life like that? Or, why haven't I achieved what they have? But let me tell you, your life is in the process of becoming better than you ever imagined. Stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy, folks. The minute you start comparing yourself to others, you're setting yourself up to feel inadequate. Here's the thing, their journey isn't yours, and yours is about to unfold in ways that'll surprise even you. The successes, the relationships, the milestones you're longing for, they're coming. You just need to stay focused on your own path. When you fall into the trap of comparison, you're taking focus away from your own growth. You're handing over your power to someone else's narrative. Stop it. Your story is different because it's supposed to be. You are in the process of writing something better. Now, what happens when these traps start to gang up on you? Maybe it's self-doubt, loneliness, and overthinking, all hitting you at once. It can feel overwhelming, right? This is when you double down on your affirmation. You've already declared it in the comments. I refuse to chase. Use that as your shield. When these mental traps try to drag you back, hit them hard with this reminder. You're not chasing validation, not from others, and certainly not from your own insecurities. Every time you feel yourself slipping into one of these traps, visualize yourself breaking free. Picture those doubts, fears, and comparisons as chains around your wrists, and imagine yourself shattering them one by one. Because that's exactly what you're doing every time you refuse to fall for these traps. You are breaking free. You are stepping into your power. And let me tell you, nothing is more attractive than someone who has conquered their inner battles. Here's something you need to remember. You are not your thoughts. You're not your fears, your doubts, or your insecurities. You are far more powerful than that. The moment you stop falling for these internal traps is the moment you become truly unstoppable. Now keep this in mind. Every time you feel the urge to fall back into old habits, to chase, to overthink, to doubt yourself, repeat after me. I refuse to chase. This is your mantra, your truth. Hold on to it tightly because it will keep you on track. You are in the process of building a life that is better than the one you're worrying about. Stay strong, stay focused, and keep moving forward. Because the real transformation happens when you've mastered your own mind. That's when they see your true worth. Not because you're chasing them, but because you've learned to stand on your own, unshaken by anything that tries to hold you back. And folks, if you still haven't dropped this affirmation in the comments, this might be the best time to do it. So go ahead, take a second, and type, I refuse to chase below. Trust me, putting it out there makes it real, and you need this reminder every step of the way. And you have to make sure you stick with me, because the next steps are where the real transformation begins. You've come this far. Don't let yourself drift now. We're just getting started, and what's coming next is going to take everything you've built so far and push it to the next level. Stay tight, because this journey is about to get even more powerful. Number 3, turn the ghost mode on. All right, folks, you've mastered loving your independence and not falling for the traps. Now, it's time to get tactical. It's time to turn the ghost mode on. What does that mean? It's not about vanishing completely, but about pulling your energy back. It's about creating space, making them feel your absence. When you stop trying hard, when you stop being constantly available, that's when people start to realize what they're missing. Let's get one thing clear. Ghost mode is not about playing games. It's about reclaiming your energy and refusing to be overly accessible. The problem with always being available, always responding, always showing up, is that people start to take you for granted. When someone knows they can always reach you, always get your attention, they lose the sense of value for your presence. But when you pull back, when you let them feel your absence, that's when everything changes. Think about it. When something is readily available, easily accessed, its value diminishes. Scarcity creates value. This is where ghost mode comes into play. You're no longer giving your energy freely to people who don't appreciate it. You're not constantly seeking their attention or validation. You're not reacting to every message, every call, or every small breadcrumb they throw your way. You are focusing on yourself, on your growth, and allowing them to experience the space where your attention once was. Now, what does it mean to actually turn on ghost mode? It means pulling back in all the right ways, without announcing it, without explaining yourself, without making a scene. You're not here to explain your absence. You're not here to justify your silence. When you go ghost, you simply remove yourself from their world, quietly and powerfully. This is a move of strength, not desperation. When you stop being available 24/7, people start to wonder, they start to notice. And this is where the shift happens. That absence makes them question things. Where did they go? Why aren't they responding? They start to feel the loss of your presence, and in that absence, they start to realize what they've been taking for granted. Let me tell you something. We live in a world where attention is currency. Everyone is fighting for it. Everyone is demanding it. When you take your attention back, when you pull it away from people who don't deserve it, they begin to crave it. It's the law of human nature. People want what they can't easily have. Think about it like this. Have you ever had someone who's always messaging you, always available, always checking in? After a while, you stop paying as much attention. Their constant availability dulls the excitement. Now, imagine the opposite. Someone who used to always be around suddenly goes quiet. They're no longer chasing after you, no longer responding to your every message. It creates a gap, an emptiness. And that's when you start thinking about them. That's when you start wondering why they've gone silent. This is the power of ghost mode. It forces people to feel your absence, to realize that you're not just going to be there whenever they feel like it. You're no longer an option on their timeline. You're living your life on your own terms. But let me be clear, going ghost isn't about playing hard to get. It's about genuinely pulling your energy back and focusing it on yourself. It's about setting boundaries and protecting your mental and emotional space. You're not disappearing because you're trying to manipulate someone into missing you. You're disappearing because you've realized that your attention is precious and not everyone deserves it. Now, let's talk about what happens when you turn on ghost mode. The first thing you might notice is a shift in how you feel. When you're not constantly checking your phone, waiting for a response or wondering what they're thinking, you get your power back. You reclaim all the energy that was tied up in chasing after someone who didn't appreciate you. You start to feel lighter, more focused, more in control of your own life. And trust me, they will notice. Even if they don't reach out right away, even if it takes time, they will notice your absence. And here's the beauty of it. The more time you spend in ghost mode, the more you realize that you didn't need their attention to feel validated in the first place. You start to enjoy your own company more. You start to focus on your own goals, your own hobbies, your own growth. And that's when you become truly magnetic. Because when you're no longer seeking attention, when you're no longer needing validation, people are naturally drawn to you. But what if the urge to reconnect creeps in? What if you start feeling like maybe you should reach out? Maybe you should break your silence just to remind them that you're still around? That's the trap. And you've already learned how to avoid those traps, right? Don't fall for it. When the urge hits, remind yourself why you went ghost in the first place. This is about protecting your energy, not about making them feel anything. Here's what you need to remember. Ghost mode isn't a short-term move. It's not something you turn on for a few days or a week and expect immediate results. This is a long-term strategy. It's about rewiring how you approach relationships and how you give your energy. This is about building a life where your energy is sacred, where your time and attention are only given to those who truly deserve it. Now, imagine this. They notice you've gone ghost. They start thinking about you more and more. Maybe they reach out. Maybe they don't. But here's the thing. You're not waiting for that. You're busy living your life. You're not sitting by the phone, waiting for them to realize what they've lost. You've turned ghost mode on, and in doing so, you've reclaimed your independence, your power, your focus. Think of yourself like a rare gem. When something is rare, it's valuable. But when it's always on display, when it's easily accessible, people don't appreciate its worth. By turning on ghost mode, you make yourself rare again. You become someone who isn't always available, who isn't always accessible. And in that space, people begin to see your true value. And let's be honest, ghost mode isn't easy. There will be moments where you want to reach out, where you want to break the silence. But you have to stay strong. This is about creating boundaries, about showing that your energy isn't for everyone. It's about learning that you don't need to be constantly available to be valued. So folks, here's what I want you to do. Turn the ghost mode on. Pull back, reclaim your energy, and let them feel your absence. But more importantly, let yourself feel the power that comes with no longer being at everyone's beck and call. Because when you turn on ghost mode, you're not just disappearing from their life, you're showing up fully in your own. And if you're feeling a bit down or unsure about turning ghost mode on, here's a fun task for you. Consider yourself as a rare, priceless gem. Something that not everyone has access to. Something that's valued because it's not always available. Picture it. You're no longer in everyone's sight, but when they think of you, they realize how valuable your presence was. This is the mindset I want you to embrace. And while you're at it, drop it in the comments. I am a rare gem. Let the world know that you're no longer freely giving away your energy. You're valuing yourself, and people will notice. Number 4. Time to invest in your personality. All right, folks. So you've embraced your independence, avoided the traps, and turned on ghost mode. Now what? It's time to invest in your personality. This is where you take all that energy you've pulled back from chasing others and channel it into something that will truly set you apart. your personality. Your personality is your power. It's the unique combination of your thoughts, actions, interests, and how you move through the world. And guess what? People are attracted to someone with a strong, well-developed personality. When you stop chasing others and start focusing on growing and refining who you are, you become magnetic. It's not about how you look. It's about the energy you bring into every room you enter. Think about it. The most charismatic, interesting people you know aren't necessarily the best-looking, richest, or most successful. They're the ones who have a personality that captivates you. That's what you need to invest in, your personality. Let me be clear, this isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about refining who you already are, building on your strengths, and making sure that when you walk into a room, people feel your presence. When you invest in your personality, you're not just attracting attention, you're drawing people in because you have something to offer that goes beyond surface-level appeal. The first step in investing in your personality is understanding who you are at your core. Take a moment and ask yourself, what are my strengths? What are the things that make me unique? This isn't always easy because we often overlook our own strengths. But trust me, they're there and they're waiting to be amplified. Start by focusing on self-awareness. The more you understand yourself, the more you can invest in growing and refining the parts of your personality that already make you shine. Are you funny? Do you have a knack for storytelling? Are you deeply empathetic? These are the traits that make you, you. And the more you own these traits, the more confidence you'll build in who you are. Confidence is attractive. People are drawn to those who know themselves, who aren't constantly seeking external validation, but instead radiate a deep sense of self-worth. When you invest in your personality by becoming more self-aware, you build that confidence and people start to notice. You stop chasing them and suddenly they're intrigued by you. One of the most powerful ways to invest in your personality is by expanding your horizons. You need to start feeding your mind, learn new things, explore new interests, read books, watch documentaries, listen to podcasts that challenge you. The more knowledge and experiences you accumulate, the more layers you add to your personality. Think of it like this. A person who's constantly learning, evolving and growing is like a multifaceted gem. They're interesting, they bring new perspectives to conversations, and they have depth. Compare that to someone who's stagnant, who hasn't grown or developed themselves beyond the basics. Which one do you think people will be more drawn to? Investing in your personality means that you're always growing, always learning. You become someone who can hold a conversation about a variety of topics, who can engage others with your unique perspective, and who constantly brings something new to the table. Whether it's picking up a new skill, learning about different cultures, or just diving into subjects you've never explored before, this is how you become unforgettable. Another critical part of investing in your personality is developing emotional intelligence. This is the ability to understand, manage, and express your emotions in healthy ways. It's also about understanding the emotions of others. Why is this important? Because people are naturally drawn to those who can connect on a deeper level. When you develop emotional intelligence, you're able to navigate relationships with grace. You can handle conflicts maturely. You can offer support without being overbearing, and you can build stronger, more authentic connections. Emotional intelligence isn't something you're born with. It's something you can build. Start by becoming more aware of your own emotions. When something triggers you, take a moment to pause and reflect on why you feel the way you do. Are you reacting out of fear, insecurity, anger? The more you understand your own emotional responses, the more control you'll have over them. Once you've mastered your own emotions, you can start reading the emotions of others more effectively. This makes you a better listener, a more compassionate person, and someone who people naturally trust. Trust is incredibly attractive. When people feel they can be themselves around you, they'll be drawn to you. Let's talk about authenticity. When you invest in your personality, it's crucial that you stay true to who you are. Don't try to mimic someone else's personality just because you think it's what people want. People can smell inauthenticity from a mile away. When you're authentic, you give others permission to be authentic around you as well. It's refreshing. We live in a world where everyone is trying to fit in, trying to be someone they're not, trying to curate a perfect version of themselves for social media. But real connection comes from authenticity. When you're real, people are drawn to you. They're drawn to your honesty, your vulnerability, your openness. They feel like they can let their guard down around you, and that's rare. Being authentic isn't about oversharing or being reckless with your emotions. It's about being genuine in how you present yourself, how you talk, and how you engage with others. When you invest in your personality, make sure that it's your personality, not a version of someone else's. One of the most attractive qualities you can invest in is your ability to listen. In a world where everyone is so busy talking, posting, and projecting, being a good listener is like a superpower. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel heard. When you practice active listening, you're not just hearing the words someone is saying, you're engaging with their emotions, their ideas, and their experiences. It creates connection. And guess what? When people feel connected to you, they want to be around you more. Start practicing this now. The next time you're in a conversation, instead of thinking about what you're going to say next, focus entirely on the person speaking. Ask them follow-up questions. Show that you're engaged in what they're saying. This simple shift will make a huge difference in how people perceive you. It shows that you're interested in them, not just yourself, and that's a rare trait in today's world. So, folks, here's the deal. It's time to invest in your personality. This is where you stop waiting for external validation and start building yourself from the inside out. Every day you're not investing in who you are, you're losing an opportunity to become the most magnetic version of yourself. The more you invest in your personality through self-awareness, learning, emotional intelligence, and authenticity, the more you'll find that people are naturally drawn to you. You won't need to chase anyone because they'll be coming to you. Why? Because you're different, you're growing, you're evolving, and most importantly, you're becoming the best version of yourself. So, start now. Pick one area where you can invest in your personality today, whether it's reading a book, having a meaningful conversation, or practicing active listening. Take that step. And when you look back a few months from now, you'll realize that the investment you made in yourself was the best decision you could have ever made. Number 5. Master the power of patience. Now, folks, we've reached the final step, mastering the power of patience. In today's fast-paced world, patience is an underrated superpower. But here's the truth. Nothing worth having comes instantly. The results you're looking for, whether it's personal growth, attracting the right people, or success, will take time. And it's the ones who master patience that ultimately win. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It means trusting the process while you keep working on yourself. Think of patience like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You water it, give it sunlight, and let it take its time to flourish. That's how you need to view your journey. Here's the thing. People notice those who aren't in a rush. who don't act out of desperation. Patience signals confidence. It shows that you're in control, that you know your value, and that you're not anxious for quick fixes. Whether it's in relationships or any other area of life, when you embody patience, you project strength. It's like saying, "I don't need this right now. I'm secure in where I'm going." But I get it. Patience isn't easy. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, and you start questioning if things will ever fall into place. That's when you remind yourself of this. Everything you want is on its way, but it's arriving on its own time, not yours. Rushing will only push you back into old habits. Stay focused, keep improving, and trust the timing of your journey. As Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." So, master the power of patience, because it's in the waiting that you grow. And when the time is right, everything you've worked for will come to you, naturally, without chasing. Now that you've got all 5 steps, it's time to take action. Don't just watch this video, implement these steps into your life and watch how everything shifts. If you're serious about transforming yourself, start by dropping "I refuse to chase" in the comments. This is your first step. Hit the like button if this video resonated with you, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Remember, the power is in your hands. Let's make it happen. See you in the next video.